We'll call to order the May 2025 meeting of the City of East Peoria Zoning Board of Appeals. The meeting will now begin. We've straightened out our technical difficulties. First order of business would be roll call.
Driscoll.
Here.
Whitman.
Here.
Tippett.
Here.
We have Bruner.
Here.
We have Tim Kelly.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Next order of business is the approval of the minutes from the meeting held on April 14th, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Thank you, George. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Don. All in favor of approving the minutes? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. First order of business is public hearing, case SU-2025-003. That's the petition of Megan Broderick of HFA for a special use to allow an auto-oriented use, which is a drive-through, on a portion of the property located at 111 West Washington Street. Property ID number is 01-01-32-405-020. Would the petitioner approach the podium, please? Okay, and will you state your name for me?
Dennis Proto, P-R-O-T-O.
Okay. And Dennis, will you raise your right hand for me? And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
So help me God.
Okay, and thank you. And then, do I need to swear in Jason? Jason, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
you can go ahead and proceed with, and I'm really talking loud. You can go ahead and proceed and tell us what you're planning on doing.
Evening. So we're here to present the Seven Brew Coffee Shop to go on that corner that you guys are discussing, that you have the site plan in front of you. So a little background, I work for Brew Horizons LLC, who is a franchisee of Seven Brew, the coffee shop itself. Seven Brew Coffee started in 2017 as a family-owned company. It has now grown to over 400 units. They themselves, the corporate ends, only 25. The rest are all franchised out, and we're in 34 states. My group personally, we have 26 locations. We're on the east coast of Florida, southern Alabama, Michigan. We'll be in northern Indiana shortly, Illinois right now. So that's my group and where we are, and mostly concentrated in the Midwest right now with our development program. So a lot of people here, Seven Brew, coffee shop, Nilla Coffee, Dunkin', Starbucks, all that stuff. We are not them. I can tell you that the experience, what you have and how we do things is completely different. We are cultivating kindness is what we talk about. We promote conversation. We encourage our baristas, as you would Starbucks, we call them texters that come out. They'll be face-to-face with you at the car, helping you through the order, asking how your day was. They will know your name by the second time, third time you come through. I think a lot of what we've heard is people come to Seven Brew to test the coffee. They come back the next time because of the people. So it's truly just, it's more engaging. I say our kids because they're all under 25 mostly. I'm not out there running coffee. They're out there. There's no cell phones, no iPhones. They put them away when they start their shift, and they are free. You will not see that at our stops. We truly promote engagement and a great product. Now, it's not just coffee. We have Italian sodas, smoothies, tea, shakes, and a lot of beverages. We don't serve food for the most part. We have like little packaged muffin tops if someone wants something to bite into. So that keeps us moving fast. So we're not slowing up. We don't have 5-7 minute ticket times. We don't back up with cars. We're on efficiency and a great time. So that's the experience you'll have at every one of our shops. And I've now been doing this personally for 3 years. It is the most refreshing QSR, quick service stuff that I've ever been part of. So it is, I've been excited about it. I'm probably in my third, fourth thought I was done. Now I'm back in developing stuff, and this is just an incredible concept for everybody. So we look forward to bringing it to East Peoria. So that's my spiel. Any other questions?
Yeah, questions? Tim?
I really don't have any questions.
Michael?
No, you did a good job. Thank you.
Don?
So you're the Chick-fil-A of coffee then?
Yeah, it's what people will say. Exactly. Really? There are definitely articles out there. Chick-fil-A meets Starbucks, and it's like us. Really? Yeah. There's a lot of articles. I do encourage you to look up 7brew.com. You'll see what we're about, and when I say that, you'll see what we're talking about. The vibe, the energy that is brought every day. So it's truly amazing.
That's all I got.
George?
He just wanted a Chick-fil-A. Perfect. You helped me out on that one.
No, I don't have anything at the moment.
Okay.
And I guess I was probably going to ask a little bit more about the landscaping, but prior to the meeting, we did talk about a lot of green space going down Washington and up and around the corner. There would be options then for the landscaping that I think the city would be concerned about. So I really don't have any questions. Do we have any questions for Jason on the computer?
Come on. I'm paying him. Hit him. He's charging me for sitting here. Come on.
Charging you by the hour.
Give him a tough question.
Okay, well then you can go ahead and have a seat.
All right.
So if I can just chime in, so the board knows, so this is required because it's within the Four Corners district.
Yes.
So not typical for the zoning. The zoning, usually this is allowed by right. Given that where it's at, it does require a special use to go through the process.
So what is that special use? That was going to be my question in deliberations. What is the special use here?
So the trigger is an auto-oriented
Yes.
use.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So the idea here is we're talking specifically about this one portion of the parcel. It's to be subdivided. We've received the review of the plat. A copy of it was handed out to you this evening. So it's just for this half of the property. The proposal here is, while not in the scope of their project, the property owner is proposing the demolition of the former Regions Bank building that's there on the site, and the site will largely be cleared and then kind of start from scratch. It has, talking to another engineer on the project, that they want to make sure that they've got all the site drainage issues addressed and what have you, but so it'll be basically starting from scratch.
I do have one concern. So, as far as like traffic flow in and out of here, so we can come back out on Washington, or they could cut back through the parking lot and go out the other way?
Correct. There are cross-access easements across the
Okay.
neighboring property to get access to the signals on Main Street, as well as being able to go out on Washington.
Okay.
Any further questions? Okay, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council on this particular case? Seeing no one. Yeah, Brad and I talked about that. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and do the deliberation so that the parties to this can depart, rather than sitting through our ordinance discussion about dumpsters. So I will, yeah. Okay. Well, okay. First question, will the establishment, maintenance, and operation of the proposed special use permit be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare?
No.
Will the proposed special use permit be injurious to the use or enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for uses permitted in the district?
No.
Will the proposed special use permit diminish or impair property values within the surrounding neighborhood?
No.
Will the establishment of the proposed special use permit impede the orderly development or improvement of surrounding property for uses permitted in the subject zoning district?
No.
Or have adequate utilities, access, roads, drainage, or other necessary facilities to be or been provided?
Yes.
Or they will be. Or have adequate measures to be or been taken to provide ingress and egress from the site, minimizing traffic congestion and hazards on public streets?
Yes.
Yes. Will the proposed special use permit conform to all other applicable regulations of the zoning district?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, discussion, or do I have a motion? Thoughts?
So where was that landscaping that you were talking about earlier? I don't know if we got into it.
So if you go down on your, from the little box that says approximate property line and one-way exit only.
Yeah.
If you kind of go there and you go to your right, basically all the way to the corner, there's gonna be some green opportunity here, and then around the corner,
Okay.
up to, yeah. So Wendy's owns this, which is the green right on the corner, but if you go right up to the corner of their property, all along Washington, and then maybe just a little bit of around the pass-through lane of the drive-up.
Yeah, and there will be a green island, what would be planned south as well, between the parking and the drive-through lanes as well. That would be landscaped as well.
Where?
As well as the center section of the development behind the building past the parking. So there will be a significant area for landscape. And we do have landscape architects on our team, so.
Exactly where are we talking about again?
Do you wanna come up and show
Yeah,
him?
yeah.
Just, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
just make sure you speak into the microphone.
So, all right, so this right here, see how this goes right here?
Yeah.
This
So
all right
that's
here.
all green?
It will be green,
Okay.
unless someone tells us to move our dumpster here.
Yeah.
Then we'll have to do a walkway, but this will be green in here, should be some green in here from this drive,
Okay.
because we're taking care of that, and then it is, right
And then
here.
where I put the red. Okay. Did you get that?
Yeah.
So my only concern is, okay, so we're wanting to limit auto uses or whatever the case may be, and I get that. And I kept looking at the satellite view here, and we've got Wendy's, we got this place, we got Hardee's, we got Popeyes, we got Starbucks, we got a lot of cars in line in that area already. And that's my concern I have. Now, I do like the fact that you're doing the greenery. The site does seem to be, you're not overpacking the site, which is good. There's some of these places are some similar to this in the area that are just they do not have enough site.
I grew up in the Northeast with Dunkin' Donuts, where they have like a 4-stack, and it's a half mile down the road on the roads.
So I mean, you've picked a good site in terms of that, and you're going to be able to use it well, and so that's a good thing. My only concern is, again, 2 more lanes of vehicles just stop there. And I understand it's a good spot. It's probably one of the best spots in the city for something like this, and that's why we already got 3 or 4 of them.
I guess I'll bring up, and we talked about this before the meeting, but I'm going to bring it up, I guess, for the record here, that thinking of your neighbor, specifically Wendy's here, their flow of traffic is not the best for getting out. If you're not going through drive-through, it's very hard to get out of their parking lot. It's just a tight squeeze. So it would be nice, but I do understand be able to connect kind of your guys' parking lot together to allow for an alternative flow of traffic outside of out of Wendy's onto you. But this morning, or not this morning, I'm sorry, after this before this meeting, you had mentioned that you're going to have actual people standing out there working, taking orders, so it would pose a danger risk for your employees, which I understand. So, but just for the record, I wanted to bring that up.
Oh, yeah, that's a good spot.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Any more discussion? Anybody have any comments or make a motion?
I would like to mention, just in the reference of stacking and traffic flow patterns like that, as you can see on that concept plan, we have shown 19 cars of stacking. There is obviously a significant area behind that as well, 150 feet in each lane, that can provide other stacking areas to entail keeping that other traffic and those cars coming in dedicated to this site and not backing up the traffic along the entrance ways or anything like that, impeding anybody else around us.
Thank you, Jason.
And I
You-
will say this too on the traffic. So they have like 3 different ways they can go out. They can go out on Washington, out on Main Street. Well, it's actually 2 spots they can go out on Main. And so I don't think traffic's gonna be congested in there. And there's traffic that comes in and out there now quite a bit. And there's some of it from the building they're gonna tear down, so,
And good,
yeah,
I think it'll be
And
all
goodwill.
right.
Congestion wasn't the issue I had.
and
I don't
Goodwill
think
will be
that's-
gone.
Yeah.
I mean, with people dropping off stuff at the Goodwill entrance, that'll all be gone pretty quick.
Well, if they could swing we can make a left onto West Washington here, I'd be. I guess we can't anyway, right? It just says you're not supposed to because everybody else does.
Right, everybody does it. So does anybody want to make a motion to approve or to deny?
I'll make a motion that we approve case number SU 2025003 with a landscaping plan that's approved by the city.
Do I have a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Tim and George. Roll call vote.
Driscoll,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Tippett,
Yes.
Bruner,
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
All voting in favor.
And will this go to city council?
Yep. Next Tuesday.
I have to confirm so this will go before city council next Tuesday night, and that meeting starts at 6 o'clock in this room. You might at least have someone available for questions, because the city councilman and the mayor might have more specific questions, and it's up to them to make the final. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, we're on to case A-2025-004, and that's the petition of the City of East Peoria to amend Section 5-9-4 of the City Code as it pertains to storage units and bulk disposal units. Who is my witness? Ty, do you?
That would be me.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Proceed, please.
So primarily, the code change here deals, as you mentioned, with storage units and bulk disposal units or dumpsters. This was something that back in 2018, we attempted to put some code language together to require permits for these. And the challenge we've discovered in the 7 years since is awareness. With residents, it's something that, by and large, you see these kind of throughout the community whenever there's, somebody's got a roofing project going on. They are in the process of moving. They're in the process of renovating a part of their house. So awareness has always been a challenge. We have made some attempts over the years to provide some additional awareness about it. We went out to the dumpster contractors and sent them a letter and just said, hey, please be aware, these require a permit. We've received very little response, and the response we received was not very polite. So not very thrilled about it. We went and talked to some of our other communities here more recently to see, what is it, how is it that you handle this? And most of our neighbors do not have a permit for this, save for the ones that go on the street in the right-of-way. And so the changes here eliminate the permit requirement. They do speak for a timeline because it would provide our inspector an opportunity if we get a complaint about one of these, hey, this temporary storage container like a pod has been sitting out on somebody's driveway for the last 6 months. Well, ideally, you don't want these there. They're in their name is temporary. They're not there to be as a permanent structure. So it still provides some opportunity to address these, eliminates the permit requirement. And I will tell you that we've not aggressively gone out and said, oh, hey, you don't have a permit, you're in trouble, that sort of thing. You would think that by and large, most people would want to have these off their property because they do pay monthly, weekly, what have you. But there are some cases where we've had some units out for a longer period of time. Usually not the dumpsters. Typically it's the pods or something like that get left out there, whether something drags on for longer or they find that it's a convenient storage facility. So that's largely the change that's being proposed here, would be elimination of that. There is some mention in Section A that has to do with, these shipping containers and that sort of thing. Those seem to crop up from time to time, maybe more appropriate in an industrial commercial setting, probably not something that we want to see in the neighborhoods. But it does provide a brief allotment of time for something like that.
So no structures can be built out of the storage containers.
Correct. They're not designed to be long-term. I mean, you've seen examples. I think unfortunately we've seen the coffee can in Hannah City that recently closed, but that was a full restaurant space that was crafted out of these. It's interesting. It's unique. I mean, they made a lot of changes to them to make them functional, but they're really not suitable for, in somebody's backyard for any period of time.
Right. Swimming pool.
Yeah.
Well, and I know that one in particular was left for an extended period of time at a business that had closed, and it's because the business had not paid their bill.
Right.
So, questions for Ty? Tim?
So I see in section 3, this is already in the code, but I just wanted to ask a question related to it. It mentions that portable storage units shall not be located within the public right-of-way and shall not intrude upon or block any street or public sidewalk. So how would, I guess actually maybe the one before that. So in a manner that does not interfere with the passage of pedestrians or the movement of vehicles. So like, let's say for instance, how would we handle it if someone had like a very steep driveway? Like I'll use mine, for example. I have a very fairly steep driveway, and I don't know if a company like that would, one of these units would feel comfortable placing it in the driveway. How would one, I guess, go about seeking approval from the city to place it, like, say, in the street in front of my driveway, blocking, like, one lane of my driveway, for example?
So no formal process. That's something that we've talked to our street department about, and their preference was to address these on a case-by-case basis. If there's a extenuating circumstance, it's hey, I got to have it here for just a few days, really trying to minimize that time. But that was the request we had from them, as opposed to any sort of formal process. It was just, when these come up, run it by us, and we'll figure out a way to accommodate folks. Understanding that there are those situations where you've got a driveway that's too steep or something's going on at the property that doesn't allow for it to be placed on it.
Yeah, and I think the city of East Peoria does a pretty good job of like respectful community policing, if you will. In my opinion, that policing is really the bad word or the wrong word. I don't think that I really want to use, but just trying to ensure that we're not excessive, I would say, with the things that we're doing. For example, if I did have to do that, I would not want to have it there for weeks on end. Right. As you mentioned, hopefully this would be a reasonable period of time where, I wouldn't be, creating issues for my neighbors or a serious eyesore. But I just want to make sure that, maybe we don't need anything in the language about, that type of thing or any type of process. But I mean, I think it's case-by-case basis seems fair to me.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael?
No questions.
Don?
I think I have 3. So this has been a permitting. You're supposed to get permitted if you have one of these?
Since 2018.
Huh. I think 2015 is the last time I had one on my property.
Awareness has been a challenge.
I never
knew it. Do you send out a letter to every resident and say, hey, by the way, you need a permit for these? And the goal was really to just try to keep the time managed.
Yeah.
That don't leave it out for an indefinite period of time.
I completely
Like I said, the
understand
experience has been that maybe the permit approach is not the best way to handle it.
And I really like that you're adding the can't be in the public right of way. I know we had a concern down there. I've got a concern, but it's the exact opposite. In December, on one of the first days where we had a good frost on the windshields, and it was hard to see out the windshields, my daughter actually ran into one of these on the road because it was sitting on the road.
Right.
And it had no reflectors or anything.
Yeah, they're
like
supposed
that.
to put, and that was
Are
part
they
of
really?
that. part of that discussion was, the Public Works Department want to make sure that they've got it coned, and, I mean, that doesn't keep somebody from hitting it, but hopefully it's
So
a
that
good
would be
visual.
nice.
Yeah.
That would be nice that if you have to put it out on the street, then yeah, we do something
Yeah.
so it can be seen. It could not be seen whatsoever. Third point, does this include like containers as well, like the big shipping containers?
Yes, well, so that's in A. So the first segment talks about having, shipping containers and other similar railway cars and that sort of thing. So that's kind of more the industrial side of things.
So okay.
But
So
it speaks
things
to a
that
very
might
short period of time or just not at all, and more appropriate for an industrial or manufacturing.
Okay. So, for example, I'm on one of those local school boards, and there is one of those sitting out being used year-round for storage. I assume that's going to be fine the way it is?
For the schools utilizing it,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I-
for those applications.
okay. So this would basically be grandfathered in or something, those existing.
Not a term that we
uses.
use, but yeah.
Huh?
Non-conforming. But that's a good point, though. I mean, that's now that you mention it, I do know what you're talking about.
I wouldn't want somebody to, yeah.
Yeah. And so maybe there's a carve out for
Well, that, and then it would,
institutional
at
uses or-
worst case scenario, they'd have to come here and present to us.
Yeah. Because, these are certainly more appropriate in those types of settings.
And I'm
Where
guessing
you
there
would
are
want
industrial settings that that they're out there. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And they're permanent or whatever, but they're probably more hidden, and it's not a problem. All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, can I speak for a second? So on that institutional thing, I will go on another note. ICC for a while had one out that was right along ICC, right before you got to the new fire station. It hasn't
Yeah.
been there for a year or so, but it was there for a long time,
Yeah.
and that was right by where I would enter and exit my
was-
neighborhood. Not the best to look at, so
Was it part of their trucking school?
no, I don't
No,
think
not
so.
really
It
that.
was just storage. So I mean, not that the schools, it's fine if it's
Right.
camouflage, but if it's right there on the main drag, I would, I don't know.
Yeah.
just the-
It's something I'll certainly talk to our city attorney about if we massage the language a little bit.
yeah.
But there was an attempt to address those as well too. They're in the code, largely prohibited. We went from 7 to 15 days, but the goal wasn't to have them for a long period of time. But I can understand that there are situations where it makes sense.
But worst case scenario, they come to us, right?
Yeah.
Right.
they'd have
Worst
to
case
present
scenario would
here.
be a special use.
Okay.
And, these things are relatively prevalent in industrial settings, so it gets a little hard to imagine that we're going to have every use like that come in for these. It's like I said, it's more
No, but
about
I don't want
residential.
ICC or
Right.
there are some uses, especially in large areas of land that.
Yeah.
Okay.
George?
I have no questions.
I have no questions. There's no one here to make a comment from the public on this particular case, so we will move on. Does anybody have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve this as presented.
Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Don and Michael. Roll call vote?
Driscoll.
Yes.
Whitman.
Yes.
Tippett.
Yes.
Burner.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
All voting in favor.
Okay, motion passes. And that's the end of it, right?
Correct.
Oh, I got one right.
That's exactly what I was thinking. No.
Yeah. Woo. I got a 50-50 guess. Okay. Old business? None. Any new business?
Just another question. It's been a while. We haven't talked about the chickens, and I think we had talked about bringing it back up just to see how it was going. I don't know if the next meeting or, another meeting where it's light like this, if we could just have an update on it.
Sure. I don't know that I necessarily have much of an update, but we can certainly talk about them. Because we went through our first full year of the pilot project.
We had one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just wasn't sure if there was, possibility of
Didn't we have two?
looking. Or did we have two?
Like across the street from each other?
I think that the second person never came to
Yeah.
request
Oh, is that what it is?
Well, I
Okay.
don't know.
But anyway, it'd be interesting to have that conversation.
Okay. Citizens' opportunity to address the ZBA on non-agenda items. Seeing no one, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you all. Until next month.
I really didn't have 3 questions. I just wanted to make sure we went over the 629.